Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we got a fun one for you today. If you look at the blurb module on the left hand side here, every 10 seconds or so that title is going to spin round. It's going to spin around its x-axis, then it's going to stop, wait for about 5-6 seconds, and then it's going to flip round again. Well, we're going to use the freeform CSS tab to do this today. Really easy to do, and that sort of thing is really eye-catching. It'll get people's attention really quickly if that sort of thing happens. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. Once enabled, let's roll down to where we want to work. I'll quickly undo what I've got going on here, which was this one. I go into this blurb module, over to Advanced, Custom CSS, and here's our freeform CSS tab. Let's just delete what I've got going on there. That'll stop that spinning. And just for fun, let's select a different one and do this today. So as you saw, we're going to go into the module. We're going to go over to Advanced, down to Custom CSS, and we're going to use the Freeform CSS tab right here. Once we've actually created this animation, I'll show you how to use your CSS IDs and classes to apply it to other ones using a code module if you want to use this on more than one element. Okay, so in our Freeform CSS tab, we can select what we want to do. Now I just want to find out what that title is. To do that, once we're in the blurb setting, I can click on the little pencil icon that's connected to it, and it tells me it's an H4 title. And when you set up your blog and put your title in there, you can select it to have it anything from H1 to H6 down there. H1 being the largest, H6 being the smallest. So let's go to our Advanced now, back to our Custom CSS and our Freeform CSS panel. Now to affect this module, all we have to write in here is selector. We can start writing code and changing this module how we want. But I only want to select that title. And as we saw, that was an H4. So I can put H4 in there. We can open and close some curly brackets. And now we can write some CSS code that's going to target that particular title on its own. So I want to create an animation. I'm going to say animation. I'm going to hit colon. We'll give it a name. Let's call it Xspin, because we're going to be spinning around the x-axis. I want mine to last for about 10 seconds, 10s. I want it to keep on going and going, so I want it to be infinite. And I also want it to be smooth, so I'm going to say linear, N-I-N-E-A-R. Fantastic. Okay, now we've told it that we want it to have an animation called Xspin. We've just got to create that animation called Xspin. We're using keyframes to do that today, so I'm going to say @keyframes. And keyframes are like stop animation with video. You've got a timeline of 10 seconds, and we can decide what we want it to do along that timeline of seconds with keyframes. So we've told it we want to use keyframes. We've got to give it that name, Xspin. Now we can open and close some curly brackets, and we can actually create the animation we want. And I'm going to use transform rotateX on this. So at 0%, basically when the page loads, or second one of our 10 seconds up there, I'm putting 0%. I'm going to open and close some more curly brackets. And inside, I'm going to transform, colon, I'm going to use rotate. I want to just rotate around the x-axis so it spins like we saw earlier. And initially when the page loads, I don't want it to be doing anything. I want it to be right side up. So right after the X, with no gap, I'm going to put some round brackets. I'm just going to put a 0 in there for nothing. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to shoot down one, and we'll put another entry in. I'm going to say about 20%. Obviously, that's going to be at the 2-second mark of our 10 seconds. I want it to flip round. So I'm going to say 180 degrees, so it'll be upside down. DEG for degrees after the amount. Then let's say 40%, or the 4-second mark. I want it to be flipped back up the right way round. So I'm going to copy this, Control C. I'm going to drop down one more, Control V. And change that to 40%. flip it the right way around, I'm just going to put another 0 in there. And you may have noticed it's already rotating there. Fantastic. We can pretty much leave it like that if we want to, but just to make sure it's going to be right way up when we get to 100% or stay there and pause, so it's got about 6 seconds of pause right way up. I'm going to copy this one more time. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to make this 100%. That's all the way up to our 10 second, the end of our 10 seconds there. And I have another 0 on there. And as you can see, it's doing exactly what we want it to do. It's starting off right way up. Then at second 2, it's flipping around upside down. By second 4, it's back right side up. And it's going to stay there all the way to the end of second 10. That's great. Now, if you want to duplicate that effect, well, you just have to copy this code and put it in the other modules you want it to do, or just copy that module over. Now, another way of doing this, we've used the Freeform CSS tab here, which is absolutely awesome. Another way is we could put this code into a code module and then just apply it to any other module using a class name. So to do that, I'm going to take this code, I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to get rid of it there, Control X just to get rid of it. We'll save our changes. That's going to stop now. Let's add a little code module. And inside, we need to create some style tags to tell it that this is CSS code. So that's left pointy bracket, the word style, right pointy bracket. It'll put the closing tag in there. Inside these tags, we can paste that code that we want. Now, because we were using the Freeform CSS tab just now, we just had to say selector. If we're going to use it in a code module, we need to give it an actual class name so we can apply it to all these different modules here. So let's just call it SpinX, I guess, S-P-I-N, and a capital X. Now, all class names, when you write them in code, have to have a dot or a period in front. Great. So we've now got our code in a little code module here, and anything that we apply the class name of SpinX to, it's going to start spinning the H4 titles. So let's try that. We'll save our little code module here. Let's go into any of these modules. Over to the advanced. Now we're going into CSS IDs and classes this time. It's a class name, so make sure you put it in the class name, not the ID. And when we write it in the actual class name itself, we do not need the dot. So it's spin, capital X. As you can see, that title started spinning on that. Now, any other modules that you want to spin like that, we just need to go in, give it that class name. As you can see, that next one's doing it. Now, I'm sure you get the picture. Now, this will work on any module, but to make it effective, that module will have to have a title with an H4 class in it, because we're specifically targeting the H4s. So there we've got 3 of them. When I save this page, they'll all actually be in sync. So let's make sure that's going to work on the front end. And let's exit the Visual Builder. We'll roll on down to where we were working. Down to the bottom here. And there's those little modules. And as you can see, all those titles are in sync there. And any other module, like I say, that has an H4, you can apply that class name to. And it'll spin the title for you. So there you go. There's a couple of ways of using CSS. One using the great Freeform tab that I really wanted to demonstrate today, because that's a fairly new feature. And the other way is if you're going to apply it to lots of different modules on the one page, you can use a code module. And of course, there is a third way if you want to use this throughout the site. The code that we put into the code module, you can copy, you go down Dashboard, Divi, Theme Options, paste that into your custom CSS panel, or if you want to, you can put it in the customizer into the additional CSS panel. It's the same thing as here. And then you can apply that site-wide just by using that class name of SpinX. But remember, for this particular piece of code, you'll have to have something with an H4 title on it. So there you go, guys. Here's a couple of ways of using a bit of CSS with the freeform CSS panel, a code module, and your additional CSS panel. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget, this code I'll put down below the video if anybody wants to copy and paste it. But it's always a good idea to get into the habit of writing CSS code. It's really easy and will take your design skills up to the next level. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.